News Radio KMAN weather.
Right now in Manhattan, 61 degrees, wind gusting as high as 20 miles an hour out of the southwest with partly cloudy skies. Tonight, partly cloudy and a low around 34 as we head to tomorrow. Sunny and a high near 60, a northwest wind from 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tomorrow night, mostly clear in a low around 31. Moving ahead to Wednesday, mostly sunny in a high near 64. 50% chance of rain on Thursday with mostly cloudy skies and a high near 55. Wildcat Insider is next on News Radio KMAN.
KMAN Daily Weather is presented by Fox Business Systems. How much does downtime cost you and your business? Don't let another second go by. Call Fox Business Systems at 776-1452.
The following is an exclusive presentation of News Radio KMAN, your home for K-State athletics. This is Wildcat Insider with the Mercury sports editor Tim Everson and KMAN sports director Mitch Fortner.
If you took a 5-minute break today from Twitter, you missed something significant. You missed either a K-State transfer going somewhere else or K-State bringing in a transfer. That's been the news today. Klein and staff pick up 5 players out of the transfer portal today, which is, I think, news we were expecting. But now that you got a smaller transfer portal window, of course, a lot of news back in December of guys saying, yes, I'm going to be going to the transfer portal. Things happen quickly. Things happen quickly when you start getting guys on their visits on campus. You want to be that first team to bring in that transfer guy that you want. Make them a priority. Let them know that you want them to be a Wildcat. Get them on campus first. Great odds that you're going to be landing that player. 5 by K-State, and then you see a bunch of defensive players going to the SEC or Texas Tech.
Or the Big Ten.
Or the Big Ten. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Indiana. Yeah, Indiana picked up a couple of our edge guys. Austin Romaine is going to Texas Tech. They got money.
Quamos, Tennessee.
Quamos is going to Tennessee. And Kenitra Thomas.
Oh, yes.
He's going to Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Well, stay with us today as we join you for 2 hours today, and coming up at 6 o'clock, the Jeff Mitty Show. But welcome to Wildcat Insider. Mitch Fortner, Timmy Everson, Cole Dutchendorf is across the glass. Calls, questions, comments, texts, send them our way. 785-537-1350 is the number to call or text. Brian LePack is going to be sticking around with K-State, but what will be his job in 2026? Avery Johnson has announced his decision for the 2026 season. Wanted to lead off, though. Let's talk some hoops. It's the latest game we've had. K-State opens Big 12 play on Saturday against number 10 BYU. A huge opportunity to get your second quad one win of the season. K-State had never lost a game in a Big 12 opener under Jerome Tang. He had previously been 3-0, but you don't have every day the number 10 team in the nation coming to your gym, which, by the way, everybody that argues, oh, football never gets to start Big 12 play at home, basketball always gets to start Big 12 play at home.
It seemingly always does, yeah.
It has every time under Jerome Tang. But A.J. DeBonsa, who K-State recruited, he took his first official visit to Manhattan, to K-State, ends up scoring 24 points. P.J. Haggerty scores 24 points. But the Wildcats fall by 10 to number 10 BYU, 83-73. Tim, your biggest takeaways were what?
Yeah, you got to, for a team that is as good as three-point shooting as they are, they got to be better than that, especially against teams that are longer than them, more athletic than them. You got to be able to do something else. You got to be able to shoot the basketball, and K-State really did not do that.
No, not really. A season low, 3 of 21. That's 14.3%, all season lows. Abdi Bashir was the only player to hit a three-pointer. You could also add on, he kind of had a fourth one there, a three-point play, or I should say was fouled on the three-pointer, got 3 free throws, and he gets the three-point play at the free throw line, so you maybe say he got 4 in the game. and he finishes with 16 points on the day. But Coach Tang, yes, the three ball wasn't falling, but he wants to also talk about some other things that didn't go necessarily K-State's way, where they saw some great defense from the Wildcats. Believe it or not, gave themselves a chance because of really good defense. They forced 19 turnovers. That's the most BYU had coughed up this season. It was about the results off those 19 turnovers that just wasn't enough.
The effort, the execution, the aggressiveness, we wanted to be the more aggressive team. It was great, but when you force 19 turnovers, you can't have 17 points off of it. You need to have 27 points off of it, because a lot of them were live ball turnovers. So we got to capitalize. I don't think that we capitalized on that.
A.J. DeBonsa had 7 turnovers in this game. Now, he is a player that just got a Big 12 weekly honor for his 24 points. He also had 9 rebounds in the game, but 7 turnovers. K-State was pretty, it was like they're on Tinder. They're swiping left and right that basketball and trying to deny BYU of a ball control and trying to strip away that basketball. And they got 12 steals in the game. I mean, if there was an encouraging moment, it was the way they were able to play defense. I thought they did a good job against A.J. DeBonsa until they go big, and then they start to ISO, and then he's really athletic. Yeah. He's really long, and then he gets a little tough to stop.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why he's, the first or second best player in the country, depending on who you talk to, coming into this year. Incredibly tough. But I honestly, I think that's probably the best that you're going to do against someone like that. K-State, I think, got the game that they wanted. They just, they didn't do some little things that they needed to push them over the hump.
Now, the biggest fix, according to Jerome Tang, is, those second chance points for BYU was not good.
They got 40% of their misses and scored 1.25 points every time they got a rebound. We only got 26% of our misses and scored 0.64 every time we got a rebound. That's the difference in the ball game right there. And whether it's the offensive rebounds was because of rotations and that we have to fix, or whether the guards weren't cracking down on the backside, or whether we're just getting beat one-on-one, which happened a few times, we have to correct those things.
And going back to the previous comment from Tang talking about energy, I thought around out of the gate, and talking with Mitch Harper from KSL Sports, BYU is really good at giving the other team hot starts, which K-State, I wouldn't say they came out hot, but they did have a lead. They were very competitive on both ends of the floor. They were attacking on the boards. They were getting second chance looks. K-State had 11 offensive rebounds in the game, which according to the last 6 games, they've been averaging 14 to 15 offensive rebounds per game. But again, BYU is just a different animal. And then BYU was certainly more aggressive on the boards. I mean, they were winning a lot of rebounds, and we've seen this before hurt K-State, where they're not grabbing offensive rebounds, and either the other team's getting put back, so they're getting to the free throw line because of fouls, and K-State sometimes just doesn't recover from the scramble of trying to get these rebounds. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I am sick and tired of not seeing this team box out. I feel like I've seen more effort in that area, but I caught Nate Johnson to pick on him, who had a bad game on the offensive side for sure. And I caught him putting no effort into offensive rebounding. And with BYU's length just easily getting to the bucket and grabbing these offensive boards and these competitive putbacks, I'm sick and tired of seeing it. And this has been happening not just this season, but it's been happening for years. It is a necessary fundamental to try to, when they are attacking the glass, when they're not giving you the rebounds, to find a man and put some effort, because if they're going to grab that rebound, there's a chance they'll foul you to get that rebound. And I'm sick and tired of not seeing it. The amount of effort, yes, if there's effort in other areas, but this is one that needs to really get better. And I've seen it a little bit. It needs to get a lot better. So, yes, to me, the offensive rebounds, when you're out second chance points, 20-7. And, yes, Tim, I agree. The three-point shooting, when you go, this is one of the best three-point shooting teams in the nation. We have seen it a couple of times this year. Bowling Green, where they lost to Bowling Green. A big factor there was they were poor from three-point range, but if they just had a few more go in, even if they're still below average in three-point shooting, it changes the game and gives K-State that shot, that run that they should have had. It never happened. I'll ask you, Tim, and Coach Tang brought this up. Is K-State passing up shots? Are they passing up too many shots when they do have some open threes?
I mean, it seems like it. I think that I know that that's been a big PJ Haggerty problem. Obviously, he's not a big three-point shooter like some of the other guys on the team. But yeah, I mean, I think that at this point you can kind of say, yeah, they're being a little too generous with each other. Someone's gotta be a little selfish and be like, hey, no, I'm gonna shoot this ball because I know I can make it. And we've seen it. We've seen guys like Abdi Bashir get red hot and just absolutely torch teams whenever he gets rolling. But I think at times they do kind of get a little passive, and that is a problem for sure.
I think at least 2/3 of their threes were good looks. You mentioned PJ. I mean, PJ has had a rough run to go lately of three-point shooting. Started out the season pretty well. He doesn't shoot a high volume anyway, but it did feel like when K-State wasn't getting the three, we saw it in the second half. I would have guessed coaching just told these guys, told PJ, told David, or if Abdi's not getting the ball, just go downhill. Just attack. Just try to get to the hoop. See if we get some whistles. PJ's really good at that. David is extremely athletic. His athleticism is underrated. And for his size, for how much he competes on both ends of the floor, he was guarding, quite a bit of the time AJ DeBonsa, and I'm sure that's not an easy matchup, but, he was competitive there, but he passed up some threes. I never want to see David Castillo pass up a three.
No.
He needs to have that green light, even though he was 0 for 5, and I think Tang even talked about this after the game. He needs to shoot that basketball if he's got the room, but maybe the length of BYU got in their heads a little bit that they are way better than K-State at closing out on threes. Maybe the most annoying thing for me in this game was how often Richie Saunders was wide open.
Yeah.
Couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
Couldn't stand it. Oh, and also, I mean, Nate just getting emphatically rejected
That's bad.
by Mihailo, let's see, what's his, number 5. Mihailo Boskovic, there it is.
There you go.
Mihailo Boskovic, that block right before the half was insane.
Yeah.
One more thought here from Jerome Tang. He wasn't happy about how much blue was in the stands.
I did like seeing all the blue, though. I'd like this place to be full with purple. Sure. And I think that's something we got to take ownership of. I love our fans, but we've got to take ownership of our gym. And this thing be all K-State, not allow other teams to get tickets and have any kind of momentum in this building. Because it's ours.
BYU travels well. I mean, there's Mormons everywhere. They're going to probably, I mean, I'm glad we sold the tickets. I'm sure we could use the money.
Yeah.
I mean, Coach Tay, you got to earn the purple to be there. I thought for that being a sold out crowd, based on where the direction the program is going and missing out on 2 straight NCAA tournaments, that K-State crowd I thought showed up, and even with the students out of town.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great student turnout because they're still out of town. They're going to still be out of town for a couple of games, I think. I don't know when they come back. But in K-State was selling the student section to GA, and that was a
good crowd.
Tremendous crowd that brought a little energy.
Yeah. I get it in some respects, but you got to have maybe a little more self-awareness there. You're in that position because of what has come in the past. If you don't miss the NCAA tournament 2 straight years, you're probably not having this kind of a problem. If you don't have kind of a, lackluster, mediocre non-conference campaign, you're probably not having this problem. The excitement around the program is probably a lot higher. I think, fans want to get invested. They want to. But whenever they started to get invested, you lost 4 games in a row. And it's going to take a little bit, and it's going to take some wins to kind of get that back. And I know that he wants and thinks that K-State should be a place like some others in the Big 12 that can, have a sellout, great crowd no matter what. But that takes sustained success over a period of several seasons, and we're just not there yet. And that's, that just kind of is where it is.
Appreciate the message we got asking about Elias. I would have forgotten about that part of it. No Elias Rapiek, the European, the German. Yeah. He did not play. Here's Coach Tang.
He's in the doctors. They tell me when, man, and I just, just one of those things.
And that's it. It sounded like there at the beginning he wanted to say he's in concussion protocol or something, which I have no idea if he is or he isn't. If it, the way it's up to the doctors. Concussion or staph infection or something.
Yeah, it was interesting though that he wasn't on the injury report that came out beforehand. I believe. I think it was just.
I didn't even look. I forget those even exist.
Mason Voth, Power Cat Game Day and On 3 and all that good stuff. I didn't even realize they were doing it.
Yeah.
It's
coming out the night before, 7 o'clock, I think, is when it comes out.
Yeah. So, I was wondering the same thing. Also, no Andre Kostic, which is kind of I know that's been a theme.
They were rolling out some lineups that needed to get some, especially when BYU was turning the game around and they kept extending the lead. I think it got as many as 12 points, I think, there in that second half. That just too many bench guys that can do something for you on one end of the floor, not so much on the other floor. Too many low percentages when it comes to the bench and when it comes to scoring. Scorers are certainly limited. David Castillo is the only real spark there. Taj Manning got the start because of no Elias Rapiek, and he got to the free throw line. I think he had a bucket as well, but his offensive contributions are pretty limited, with the exception of rebounds. He's going to give you the most effort than anybody else on this team in rebounding the basketball. We need to take a timeout, and when we come back, holy portal cats. Guys are out. Guys are coming in. We'll get the latest on all the additions. 5 today for Colin Klein and staff. That's coming up next, Wildcat Insider.
You're listening to Wildcat Insider.
In Manhattan, building community means more than bricks and beams. It means innovation and partnership. At McCown Gordon Construction, we deliver feature-focused solutions to projects that shape our region. From advanced research labs to vibrant education, healthcare, and community hubs. We're not just building projects, we're building the future of the Flint Hills with unmatched customer experience and value-driven strategies. We're building for tomorrow. Visit kansas.mccown-gordon.com.
The Trust Company is an independent, locally owned wealth management and investment company founded right here in Manhattan in 1992. The motivation that drives your financial goals, your life, is unique to you and your family. You won't find boilerplate, template-driven, off-the-shelf financial services and strategies at the Trust Company, but plans thoughtfully and individually designed, tailored specifically to your hopes and dreams. The Trust Company, locally owned, client-focused. Our only allegiance is to you. Visit thetrustco.com.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event.
Promises to one's community.
Healthy people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country.
Thinking we had a healthy 3-month-old little boy. All of a sudden, he had this super serious cancer. It was heartbreaking. He had chemotherapy until he was just under a year old. And at that point, he was in remission.
Went that way for a year and then relapsed February of 2023. And here we are 1 year later, finishing up treatment, hopefully.
The research is extremely important. The treatments that they're developers to help treat children worldwide.
It's contributing something like one more piece of the puzzle to curing this horrible disease. We all want the same thing. We all want our children to live, have long, meaningful lives.
Learn more at stjude.org.
Ever tried balancing a dozen eggs in one hand while hopping on one foot? Or maybe juggling cats while riding the unicycle? Sounds ridiculous, right? But guess what? That's exactly what texting while driving is like. Your human brain only has the capacity to focus on one thing at a time. So when you're behind the wheel, give driving your undivided attention.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
For area high school scores, recaps, league standings, and coach interviews, check out Scoreboard Saturday at 8 a.m. during football and basketball season, including coverage of the Centennial League, NCKL, Big East League, Flint Hills League, and the Twin Valley League. Scoreboard Saturday on News Radio KMAN is powered by WTC Communications. I'm Cole Dutchendorf with a Wildcat Insider Sports Update brought to you by Bottle Cap Sports Bar. K-State football has been busy in the transfer portal over the last 24 hours, adding Arkansas cornerback Keyshawn. Arkansas Villa was the first addition on Sunday evening. Co-defensive coordinator and defensive backs coach wide receiver Isaiah Williams committed to the Wildcats. Williams' father Melvin Williams was a defensive end for K-State from 1998 to 2002. Isaiah had 64 yards and a touchdown on the season for the Aggies. Offensive lineman Keaton Jones came shortly after transferring from Missouri. The Kansas native held offers from Alabama, Auburn, Texas Tech, and several others coming out of high school. Another defensive back would join the Wildcats in the early afternoon, with Caleb Patterson committing from Illinois. Patterson started all 12 games for the Fighting Illini in 2024. The most recent commit came from inside the Big 12 as Oklahoma State running back Rodney Fields made his announcement around a half hour ago. Fields was a 6 total commit featuring the aforementioned 5 players and Emporia State punter Dylan Davidson.
Well, we continue with Wildcat Insider, Mitch Fortner, Tim Everson, and Cole Dutchendorf. Cole just mentioned there during the updates, it's been a very busy day for K-State football, but it's not just a busy day today, it's just media-wise. It's a very busy day, but I'm sure it was a crazy weekend. A lot of transfers coming in to visit. Quite a few was on campus. And as the result, the Wildcats landing a lot of players, a lot of potential with these players. So let's just start running down this list because it might just be kind of a reporting segment here because there's a lot to tell you about. First of all, we already had one highly touted stud coming to K-State. This is prior to the portal opening for Division I. How about a punter by the name of Dylan Davidson? Remember this guy, Emporia State? All he does is just, put balls inside the 20. That's his specialty. A real dude here. Over the weekend, you got a former, a JUCO stud coming out of Arkansas, cornerback Keyshawn Davila, which I'm hoping I'm saying his name correctly. Going back to Marcus Woodson recruiting him out of Northwest Mississippi Community College, that in itself was a huge recruiting win. Number 1 corner of the JUCO ranks for the 2025 class. He appears in all 12 games in 2025. He finished with a couple of pass breakups. He only had 2 tackles on the year. And then, of course, at the JUCO ranks in 2024, that's how he gets on the map with 23 tackles, 3 interceptions, and 6 pass breakups. Certainly development need to be coming into play here. One thing to keep in mind about Keyshawn Davila, plus Marcus Woodson coming over to coach for K-State, coaching in the secondary, is that when the coaching change at Arkansas took place, because Sam Pittman was fired after 5 games, and basically with him went the whole defensive staff. Marcus Woodson was fired after 5 games, along with pretty much the whole defensive staff. The coordinators were gone, and also Sam Pittman was out. Bobby Petrino takes over for the rest of the year, and Arkansas had a terrible season. They didn't win the last 10 games of the year, so that probably changed a lot of things operationally on defense, and that could be the reason. I don't know, but that could be the reason Davila just didn't see a whole lot of time on the field after he saw some early time there. I believe his tackles were against Texas A&M. Of all teams,
I believe so.
But I'm sure garbage time, that's when he got his chance to play. But there is a ton of upside for him. Wide receiver Isaiah Williams from Texas A&M. That was earlier today. So you're going to hear this. This is a trend you're going to hear. And this may remind you of the way women's basketball was recruiting. A lot of blue chippers, a lot of potential. Former 4-star prospect Isaiah Williams is one of those players. As Cole mentioned during the update, he has a legacy. Because his old man, you may remember a defensive end by the name of Melvin Williams, who he came to K-State in the spring of 1998, and he ended up being a third-team All-Big 12 player, ended up getting drafted in 2003. His son starts at Texas A&M, and now he is he had an uncle here that also played linebacker. He is coming to K-State, where 9 games this season, redshirt freshman year, 9 catches for 86 yards and a score.
That one was exciting. I think high upside at a position where there's some playing time that's available. So a
little small, too. 5'11", not incredibly small or anything for that position, but $185 again. What his contribution is going to be, probably it's not a plug-and-play situation, not at all.
No.
But then you have an interior offensive lineman in Keaton Jones out of Missouri, again, another 4-star kid. He's a Kansas kid. He's from Coffeyville. Big guy, too, 6'4", 333. That screams interior.
Yeah, absolutely.
Offensive lineman. And he only played 8 snaps this past year for Missouri. I had asked a couple of my guys from Missouri who cover the Missouri Tigers and who is also a part of the staff there at Missouri in the athletic department about him. And it was basically he needs a lot of work. That's just where he's at right now. He needs a lot of work. He's got 4 years of eligibility left, so he uses the red shirt. There was a lot of people coming after him. He is a former number 26 interior lineman in the country, and when he was being recruited, everywhere across the country was trying to get Keaton Jones to come to their school. Penn State, USC, Alabama offered him. Arkansas, throw them back into the mix here. He is a very, very strong kid as well. Coming out of high school, he took powerlifting very seriously, 2-time state champion. So he gets after it in the weight room. It's just the college skills of being an offensive lineman. That's where K-State's going to get to work into, with Mike Schmidt to put him to work and start working on fine-tuning those skills.
I love when K-State is able to get Kansas kids from the portal to come back to K-State. Love getting Kansas kids out of high school, but love it even more whenever they, the Chris Harpers of the world.
Yeah,
they go and see the
Arthur
world,
Brown.
And then Arthur Brown, Bryce Brown, briefly.
Couple of plays.
But no, this is exciting. Obviously developmental, is not a starting piece for next year, most likely. But, like I said, I just love bringing Kansas kids back home.
Keaton, just stay out of trouble. Don't going back down to Southeast Kansas and getting yourself in trouble. All right, that's another Kansas kid I'm making a reference to. A corner out of Illinois. Now, this guy, Caleb Patterson, has quite a bit of starting experience. He's a 6'1" player. He played 9 games in 2025. I believe he got a little banged up. He started 3 of those games, 14 tackles on the year, a couple of fumble recoveries. But in 2024, Illinois has been pretty good lately. And he was one of the studs on that defensive side of the football. He started 12 games for the Illini. So I can't remember who I saw put this online. I'm stealing some some Twitter work here. I have to go back and look who this was, but according to Pro Football Focus, he was the number 5 tackling corner in the nation.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
31 tackles in 2024. He forced a fumble and a couple of pass breakups. 21 solo tackles on the year. Redshirted in 2023. So he has played obviously the majority of his football these last couple of years, obviously. So there is a player. That is a depth piece. K-State really were only for sure about a couple of positions, right? Quarterback, Avery Johnson's back, and then corner, you have both of your guys coming back, both of your starters. So I would assume, Caleb Patterson, I'm sure we'll see him on the field. He will compete for a lot of playing time. But obviously, you're going to hear this a little bit more, but secondary is obviously, like a lot of other places, position group that K-State was really needing to address because losing a lot of talent, both to graduation and the transfer portal.
Absolutely, but also, at safety, you also have to remember, you're also bringing back Wesley Fair, you're bringing back Jack Fabris, and you're bringing back Logan Bartley. And so you're with kind of these guys plus one more for now, as of this moment.
The portal's still open for a week and a half.
Yeah. So we'll see. But these guys, and in addition to the guy that you're about to talk about here, you got to feel pretty good about the secondary.
Yeah, another 4-star high school recruit added today as well. And this is the 4th out of 5 transfer portal gets for K-State. They're already announcing them officially on their website and on social media. Safety Coy Beasley out of Miami, Ohio. He was previously before Miami, Ohio at Ben Roethlisberger University. He was at Purdue, so obviously a connection there. But he's 5'10", coming off a redshirt freshman season where he had 5 tackles and an interception for Miami, Ohio. He's a Cincinnati kid. Coming out of high school, he had offers from Wisconsin, Georgia, Texas A&M, all over the SEC. Not as much Big Ten love that I thought he would get. Got more from the SEC. A lot of experience at corner. He can play safety. He could really play wherever you need him. But I want to go back to you want to talk about a track star coming to K-State, where back when he was running track, he could run a 100-meter dash in 10.44 seconds. That's burning some rubber, folks. That's a lot of speed. He also used to play some wide receiver as well. So again, young talent, a blue chipper potential, potentially some depth added to K-State at safety. And then this coming out right before we hit the air. K-State has added a running back. Rodney Fields Jr., who played his redshirt freshman season last year in 2025 at Oklahoma State, is coming to the Wildcats. So this makes the running back room very interesting because, of course, as far as we know, Joe Jackson is coming back. Really started to step up and step out late in the season. Rodney Fields Jr., obviously playing at Oklahoma State, didn't win a whole lot of games. But he played in most of them, did not win a single game last year when he was on the field. I tell you what, with a team that bad, it's still churning out 5 yards per carry, 124 carries, so a lot of work done, 614 yards, just 1 touchdown. That's great. I like as well that he was very much used in the passing game with 28 catches for 276 and a touchdown as well, 10 yards a grab. So you got that dual threat type of running back that'll help you in the running game, but also is very usable in the passing game. This is a guy you're going to see on the field.
Absolutely. And you pair him with Joe Jackson, who has said that he is going to be coming back, and you expect him to be an even bigger, a big part of the offense, just like he was last year. You expect him to get better. You expect him to get stronger. And so kind of having kind of a quicker guy to pair with Joe, who can kind of be that bruiser that has a little bit of speed, That's good. That is what K-State needed last year, frankly, and didn't have because of certain events.
And by the way, if you haven't heard, Brian LePack, coaching news, he is going to be staying with K-State. We assume that, but with the addition of Mike Schmidt, who is the former running game coordinator and offensive line coach at San Diego State, which he had been there in 2 stints, but was there for a long time. That's his alma mater, SoCal connection. But he had been hired as the offensive line coach. Brian LePack takes a step back, no longer the offensive line coach. He's returning back to tutoring the tight ends, which ever since he took over that job has been, the colors for the tight end room have been flying high.
Yeah.
A lot of success there. Less drops. If I remember correctly, less drops.
Significantly.
Yeah. Let's take a break. When we come back, we still got last week in the Big 12 coming up, plus the K-State women falling a little bit short in an upset potentially yesterday. More Wildcat Insider coming up next.
You're listening to Wildcat Insider.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. After crushing the College Football Playoff Committee for its handling of this year's playoffs, maybe it's time to give the committee a little credit. Miami over Notre Dame was viewed as a massive leap of faith when the bracket was revealed. Now Miami is fighting for a spot in the national title game after knocking off Texas A&M and Ohio State. Ole Miss faced a similar skepticism. Many believe the Rebels should have been dropped after losing Lane Kiffin, assuming instability would catch up to them quickly. Instead, the committee held firm on Ole Miss, and now they're a win away from the title game. Did the committee get everything right? Probably not, but the competitive balance this season is evident. The playoff has delivered drama, upsets, and exciting games deep into the bracket. For all the criticism, this has been one of the more compelling college football playoffs we've seen in the last couple of years. And the committee deserves some credit. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Progressive Commercial presents Heroes That Keep Truckers Going. Today's hero, the vending machine restocker who gave you a free energy drink. Was it out of the kindness of her heart, or was it just one less can she had to stock? Either way, thanks, hero. What else can keep truckers going? Progressive Truck Insurance with primary liability limits up to $2 million. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Covered subject to terms and limits.
Standing at the edge of a rocky shore, you breathe in the cool, salty air, watching the sun disappear on the horizon. Across the globe, someone begins their day along a sandy beach, listening to the rhythm of the crashing waves. You each envision a world beneath the water, vibrant life in every imaginable form. Now, imagine it's all gone. What was once a place of wonder and beauty is now a dull, lifeless wasteland. Food, jobs, medicine, all gifts from the ocean, all gone. Time is running out to protect our oceans, and without our love, everything the oceans provide can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our oceans. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
Sweet strawberry icing. You're in Goodwill, and just past that vintage denim jacket you spot miniature donut earrings. You lean in. Ah, that's the scent of shopping success. Because at Goodwill, every item you buy funds local job training and more. So bring home those donut earrings and bring home so much good to your community. Goodwill. Bring good home. Brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
The Wildcats.
Three wide open again, and it's perfect again.
Hit the court.
To the rim, layup good.
Right here.
Yeah. How about these Cats?
Be here every game as the Wildcats pounce the hardwood all season long.
3 seconds, 2, 1. buzzer, ball game. K-State wins it.
On your home for Kansas State Wildcat basketball, the K-State Sports Network from Learfield. News Radio KMAN. News Radio KMAN. Weather.
Right now in Manhattan, 57 degrees with partly cloudy skies, wind out of the west at just around 7 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy and a low around 34. As we head to tomorrow, sunny with a high near 60, a northwest wind from 5 to 10 miles an hour. Continuing to get warmer even on Wednesday, mostly sunny and a high near 64, a calm wind becoming southwest at around 5 miles an hour in the morning. On Thursday, a 50% chance of rain.
Mitch Fortner, Tim Everson, and Cole Dutchendorf back with you on Wildcat Insider. Yeah, among the all the transfers coming in for K-State football, all these coaching hirings taking place. Thad Ward returns as the wide receivers coach. Mitch and Mike Schmidt going to be coaching the offensive line. And I'm trying to think of the ones we haven't talked about, but since we were last on air, that K-State has added. Corey Patterson, talking about Rodney Fields Jr., Corey Patterson was last year's running backs coach at Oklahoma State. Well, he's bringing a running back with him. You're, so far we're seeing a handful of guys, connections to this coaching staff that has been hired by Klein. Nobody from, other than Miami, Ohio, nobody else from the MAC yet. Stan Weber with that MAC connection. Those battle-tested MACtion kids. Those are the real go-getters.
Where are my Rockets at? Let's get a couple of Rockets in here.
We're back on the game. We're back on Wildcat Insider with Mitch, Tim, and Cole. Let's stop by K-State women's basketball for just a moment before we take a look at this week in the Big 12, or last week in the Big 12, rather. Heartbreaker of a loss yesterday. Yeah. I tell you what, though, I love the fight out of this young squad. You're talking about the third youngest team in America. West Virginia, not necessarily the youngest team in America, no longer have J.J. Quinterly, but they're off to a really good start. Mm-hmm. They were battle-tested yesterday. K-State falls just short, 60-58. The three ball didn't fall as much in the second half. Tess Heel was a dog.
Yeah.
Was starting to put the team on our back, making some tough shots. After K-State was down, 7 with just a few minutes to go. They had to really scratch and claw just to make it a game once again.
Yeah, down 7 late. They go on an 8-0 run. 6 of those 8 points were scored by Tess Heel. Look, they forced a bunch of turnovers, which has not necessarily been K-State's MO. It is West Virginia's MO.
They press.
Yeah.
They press you.
Yeah, and then they had quite a few points off those turnovers. That really kept them in it when they had a couple of offensive lulls, as they have kind of been known to do this season. What killed them, though, is kind of the same thing that killed the men. It was offensive rebounding, second chance points. It was tough out there. They get out rebounded by 10. They get outscored second chance points by 10, I think. And that's it's when you have that, it's that close of a margin. It's tough. Even with all of that, they had an opportunity. They had the ball down 2, trying to tie it. They had a little bit of a mental mistake from a freshman. Jordan Spicer steps out of bounds while trying to shoot a 3 on the
right
sideline.
Right by the K-State bench.
Yeah, right by the bench. It's obviously not what you want. She was a trooper. Came to the post-game press conference, owned up to it. Coach Mitty was kind of took the fall for it on his end. It's just the way that players learn to shoot. They like to do they step into it a lot, and that just isn't something that you can do when you're at that point in that part of the floor. West Virginia really does a good job of backing you up. And he just says that's something that he has to, find a way to coach better. But look, that the game wasn't won or lost there. It's just it's unfortunate, but there were definitely there were some long lulls there in the third and early fourth quarter where they couldn't get anything going offensively. They were up, I believe, like 9 in the first half, and then let that slip away. So it's tough. It's, you need to win these types of games if you want to, start fighting your way to be back in, at least some kind of postseason discussion. You're probably still a little ways away from that, and this was one you probably could have stolen against a team that's pretty good. So that sucks. But there's going to be plenty more opportunities.
Yeah, I'm not expecting K-State to win a ton of Big 12 games. It just, get better. I mean, you're going to Houston. Maybe that's a game K-State can win. Utah isn't very good. And then you're at Texas Tech. You got Houston again, KU coming up, Colorado. I mean, there are some winnable games. I don't know if it's going to be enough to make any postseason play. I am encouraged about the fight. They can go out and beat a lot of teams. Do they got 40 minutes in them that could go win these tough games? It's hard to tell right now. But that fight on Sunday yesterday I thought was encouraging, despite only scoring 58 points. 6 of 16 from 3. They were missing some free throws late. I mean, they had a shot to win the game. They just didn't. They just fell short. That's a decent West Virginia team that they went toe-to-toe against. Your leading scorer was Tess Heel with 16 points. Jordan Spicer off the bench with 12, 13 from Nastya Klassens. Ivana Skekic doesn't play. Let's not expect her to be, just some saving grace at the 5 to save the season. And she's 18 years old, fresh out of high school, as Jeff Mitty has told us multiple times. She needs a lot of work. She came in the game prior, and she was a little deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
You could tell she was really, really nervous. So
it's a situation where you wish that she could have maybe gotten some time against some non-Big 12 competition. Yeah. One thing I will say about the freshmen, I think that it's something to kind of look for moving forward. This isn't a team that can be successful if multiple freshmen aren't playing well. Like, really, yesterday, you really only had Jordan Spicer. Anaya Foy maybe had 1 or 2 moments. It was a rough game for Gina Garcia, and Brandy Harrod struggled down low a little bit. This is a team that they need at least 2 of those freshmen clicking if they want to have success, because they're that talented and they're that kind of important. And it also, it just kind of is what it is about kind of the depth on the rest of the team. There's not much there once you get past that. So the more of those freshmen that can get involved and be productive, the better this K-State team's going to be.
All right, before we take a break, before we wrap up hour number 1, quickly, last week in the Big 12, really the most significant thing is the college football playoff. Texas Tech gets shut out.
How embarrassing.
The Big 12 is going to have to wear this for a year now.
All my homies hate Baron Morton.
Well, he wasn't good. He wasn't great, but really the whole I'm not going to put this all on Baron Morton. He is responsible for the takeaways. He had to force some ball. He was trying to make something happen. I was kind of frustrated with some of the play calling, like just no downfield throwing. It was thrown to the flats, and just nothing could really spark other than the offense, other than a long run, that it just didn't add up to any points. Defensively, Texas Tech was phenomenal.
Right.
They were really good. I mean, I've never been the biggest Baron Morton fan, but even I think this year he has kind of proven me wrong a little bit. Look, them adding Brendan Sorsby today,
$5 million,
is that what he's going to get? That's a huge step up. He's way better than Baron Morton.
I don't like Texas Tech.
Yeah, they got money. If you haven't heard, Austin Romaine.
I'm bitter about Austin Romaine.
The Romaine thing is going to sting for a while. Luckily, K-State does not play Texas
exactly.
Tech,
they do not play. They're not going to Lubbock next year.
Yeah, so there's that. But so it still sucks.
If you're going to see Texas Tech, it's in the Big 12 championship game. So, mark it on your calendar now, December, whenever that Saturday is.
Joe Jackson runs over Austin Romaine for the Big 12 championship winning touchdown.
That could be it.
Yeah.
That could be it.
Yeah, I'll choose to believe that for now, and that'll be the feeling that I hold on to instead of what's in my heart right now.
That Tech defense is going to look a little different.
A lot different.
Next year, I mean, so is K-State's. I mean, you're going to have probably 2 returning starters back. I think, right? 2 returning starters back. Offensively, 4 or 5 starters that you're going to have back, probably at the most. Because I believe you just told me there's another offensive lineman that just jumped in the portal, right?
Yes, yeah. And, of course, I forget his name again.
Oh, it's Caden Massey, right?
Caden Massey.
He wasn't a star, didn't play, but...
No, and
4-star.
His name didn't really come up when they were talking about, guys coming up, the freshmen. So that happens.
There is a lot of work to be done, and just be ready for more headlines to flood your way in the next week and a half about transfer portal. A lot of work. K-State's still looking at maybe 10 guys or so out of the portal. We'll see.
Roughly, yeah.
All right, we'll take a timeout. When we come back, the voice of the Cats, Wyatt Thompson, joins us next. Wildcat Insider.
What's up, everybody? Nick Costos here to help you beat the books with Westwood One Sports. Coming up next Monday night in the Pro Football Playoffs, Houston, a 3.5-point road favorite at Pittsburgh, total in the game 39.5. And if this is going to be the number, Pittsburgh is more than a 3-point home underdog. I love Pittsburgh in the game. I don't trust Houston's offense, so next Monday, Pittsburgh plus 3.5. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetMGM app today.
You know the rush when you reach that goal, when something you've worked for pays off. That's success. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we believe you should never stop chasing it. That's why we offer a skills-based education that helps move your career forward. Learn how to apply emerging technologies like AI and data science. Build your leadership and critical thinking skills. Apply by February 11th and save with no application fee. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
NHL star Matt Martin for American Humane.
I've had my fair share of bruises and injuries, but for many who put their lives on the line every day, it's not always the injuries you can see that hurt the most. Every single day, 184 veterans are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. When medications and therapy don't help, professionally trained service dogs can. American Humane has created a free guide to help veterans obtain these life-saving animals. For help, please go to AmericanHumane.org.
If you've missed the Kim Commando Show, you've missed a lot.
Yeah, they forced Claude to unlearn all the information it got from the pirated technology.
And it's a $1.5 billion landmark settlement. A reader from the current newsletter sent me a note. He put his name in. He made $6,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah, not bad for getting a free newsletter.
America's digital goddess.
Kim Commando. Kim Commando. Saturday mornings at 9 on News Radio, KMAN. Manhattan's first for news, sports, weather, and talk since 1950. This is News Radio, KMAN, Manhattan. News Radio KMAN weather.
Right now in Manhattan, 57 degrees with partly cloudy skies, wind out of the west at around 7 miles per hour. Heading into tonight, partly cloudy in a low around 34. Going to be sunny in a high near 60 tomorrow, northwest wind from 5 to 10 miles an hour. Warming up even more for Wednesday, mostly sunny in a high near 64, dropping down to 55 on Thursday with a 50% chance of rain, also a 40% chance of rain on Friday.
K-Man Daily Weather is presented by Fox Business Systems. How much does downtime cost you and your business? Don't let another second go by. Call Fox Business Systems at 776-1452. It is hour number 2, a Wildcat Insider, as Cole is playing a instrumental, a Freebird, Skinner's Freebird.
It's just a solo.
Which I say it's it's a solo. Yeah, I don't know why.
It's too long to get to the solo, so I just cut it off to where it gets amazing.
You're not a Freebird hater, are you?
Oh no, not at all.
Have you listened to Freebird from start to finish?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I think it's a great song. I just can't play 8 minutes as bed music, you know?
I love Leonard Skinner.
Good if you believed a little harder. You got to believe.
I guess that's fair. Fair take. I can't argue with that.
Wildcat Insider continues. Mitch Fortner, Tim Everson from the Manhattan Mercury, and Power Cat Game Day. Cole Dutchendorf is across the glass. These two are going to be carrying some of the show tomorrow because I'm traveling out to Hayes, America, to call some Manhattan High hoops, first games of the second semester.
I'll tell you what, the new gym they got it's pretty nice. Not a bad place to watch a basketball game.
They built an entirely new high school, right?
I do believe that is correct.
Wow.
It always kind of freaks me out when I'm going to technically a new school for the first time. I'm like, where the hell is this gym? There's like a lot of times there's no signs or anywhere. Where am I supposed to go?
It's pretty easy. I'll walk you through it.
Well, I mean, I love Rock Creek's layout because Rock Creek has the big sign there, you know, go this way and you get to the gym and it's pretty easy to navigate. Not every school is like that. Everybody just assumes it.
It took me a little bit to once I actually needed to be at the high school. It took me a little while, but once I got there, it's pretty easy.
Where do I need to park? What side of the
gyms are right next to like the practice field. There's like it's a soccer field / turf football. They got a couple of goalposts up, so that's you'll walk down that sidewalk, and then that's right where the gym is, and it's a pretty nice gym.
Okay.
Make the wrong turn in Wamego, you can get lost.
For Wamigo's high school, the gym?
Yeah.
I've been there enough times now. I know where I'm going.
I mean, I do too, but it's a little daunting.
Wamigo does have a little bit of a weird setup.
Yeah.
A lot of stairs. The bleachers are weird.
It is weird.
Anyway, yeah, they got the tunnel like right there in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Not like on the sides. It's right there in the middle. Anywho, that's enough. That's our weekly talk about high school gyms and where they're at and their layouts. In our first hour, we did talk about some Manhattan High or some K-State hoops, and we'll talk more with Wyatt Thompson here in just a moment. We talked a little bit off there, Tim, about K-State right now is doing a lot of recruiting. They got guys on campus. K-State still doesn't have an offensive coordinator. No. To you, is that a concerning thing right now? I mean, K-State's still making some moves. They're picking up some guys. K-State still just needs to fill an offensive coordinator position.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think it's concerning. You have all your position coaches, which is good. You have your play caller, who is your head coach, who is a former offensive coordinator. And so I would imagine, that is, the offense comes from him. So it was much more important to get kind of the defensive side nailed down, get the guy who's going to be in charge of that, kind of get the vision for what you want that to be. I would imagine that if you're an offensive player, you're pretty much you're taking Colin's word for it on that they're going to get that figured out, and that whatever he says about what the offense is going to be, and what your role in the offense is going to be, that is going to be how it's carried out, because he's going to be in charge. But it is strange. It is strange that is the very last thing. But it's just kind of how it ends up. I don't know.
And you got guys on this staff that have been, running game coordinators, things like that. We're not game planning for a game yet. You know what I mean? No. We're building a roster. And I totally agree with you. I don't have a lot of concerns right now. They could have Colin Klein. I have a guy. It's set in stone. It's done, and just could still be a little bit busy right now, or take some time to fill out the paperwork, things like that. I wouldn't be surprised if he got his guy right now and things are already done. We just don't know who it is yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's rumors are out there. Sure, I'm not a big guy of talking about rumors. I don't really like talking about potential transfer portal guys.
No,
until they're locked in. I like to talk about who's locked in, not who could be in those spots and, taking a stab at it.
The only thing that would be nice is, this is such a hectic time. Another set of hands couldn't hurt. But at the same time, I think that probably if that plan is in place, and if you are a transfer who was concerned about that kind of a thing, or if you're a current player who was concerned about that kind of thing, and you brought that concern, I'm sure that you would be, told what the plan is for that. And I'm, if they're fine with how it is, I'm fine with how it is. I'm sure things have been rolling out here pretty quickly. Let's see what happens. So,
all right, we are ready to go with the voice of the Wildcats. We are now joined by the voice of the Cats, Wyatt Thompson, who is with the K-State men's basketball team. They left today to go out to Arizona, so they're going out a day early and spending now they're still out of school, right? So a couple of extra days in Arizona. They'll be in Tucson Wednesday night to take on number 1 Arizona for an 8 o'clock tip-off. Pre-game coverage will be at 7 here on KMAN. Wyatt, welcome back to Wildcat Insider. Appreciate your time. How was calling the Sun Bowl? You had a hell of a game to call there between Duke and Arizona State.
I really enjoyed it. It was so much fun. Hadn't been to El Paso for a game of time. It's really a fun bowl game. Over the years, they've had a lot of terrific games, and this one turned out to be the highest scoring game in the history of the Sun Bowl, and also the most yards combined by two teams in a game in the Sun Bowl history. So it really, really was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work preparing because of the opt-outs and all of that kind of stuff, but once you get between the white lines, as Coach Snyder used to say, it's still a fun game that I love, and I know you do too. Yeah, for sure. And how'd you end up calling this Sun Bowl? Is it you got a connection with a company, right? Yeah. My counterpart at TCU, Brian Estridge, and another guy in Pennsylvania kind of started this company, and it's called Bowl Game Radio, and they now have the rights to 21 bowls in the bowl season. Some are, Westwood One or ESPN Radio, but a lion's share of them now are Game Day Radio, and I've had the opportunity to do 3 games for Brian. I've done the game in Boise with the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, and then I guess 3 years ago was in Las Vegas for the Las Vegas Bowl with Utah and Northwestern right before Utah joined the Big 12, and then this one. So it's a lot of fun, man. It's really, really fun. Well, let's talk a little bit more about K-State football, because I would imagine you've been doing your best to keep up with the chaos, because Colin Klein is hiring a bunch of guys, and now the transfer portal open, and now guys are signing on, and a bunch of defensive players already linked up with K-State, and an offensive lineman out of Missouri. Let's start with the coaching. I want to get your thoughts on Thad Ward coming back to be the wide receivers coach after being here in 2022. I'm really excited about that one. Not that I'm not all of them, but Thad did a really good job in the short period of time that he was here. And if you go back and look at some of the receivers on the roster at that time, you can understand that that was a pretty productive group. I think he's a really, really fine coach. I think he's a good fit with this staff. And I think our fans will, as they get to know him or maybe get reintroduced to him, they'll either find out or remember just the type of personality that he has. He's a good guy to be around, a lot of fun, and also very serious in his work and a really good teacher.
I know last time we spoke as well, another addition was Mike Schmidt, the former O-line and running game coordinator coach there at San Diego State. Have you had a chance to meet any of these guys yet, either the guys that were just hired again or maybe in the weeks past?
I have not met Mike yet, have not seen Thad yet either, but I just, to be honest with you, with the bowl game that I did, with the basketball stuff, I haven't had a lot of time to be over there, but that will change after this week. We're gone most of the week to Arizona, and then I'll be able to be in and out of there a lot more often, and I'm looking forward to that because they've hired a lot of exciting coaches, and things are shaking very, very quickly in the transfer portal world, and I think we all try to follow it as best we can, but it's difficult. You're right.
Well, the other football thing I wanted to get your thoughts on is we got the official word from Avery Johnson that he's going to play his final season at K-State. He's not going anywhere, and he's sticking around with Klein to be the quarterback. So obviously some very significant news there.
Without a doubt. Probably the biggest name that you could talk about with, the people that were available to potentially return. You'd probably start with Avery, right? I mean, it just is what it is. It's the quarterback position, all of that kind of stuff. But I think a lot of people, I tell you this every time we talk, I'm not a real big social media guy, but I think there's been some writings on there about how loyal he's been to K-State. Yeah, he's made a lot of money. Yeah, he's had success. I think he loves it here. All of those things lead you to believe that, there's a pretty good shot that he's going to come back, but you can't take it for granted in this world. You just can't. So for him to be back is exciting for me. I think exciting for all K-State people, honestly.
All right, K-State basketball opens Big 12 play on Saturday. Of course, you were back in town for that game, and they lose to BYU by 10, 83-73. To you, the biggest difference in the game was what?
Well, I'd probably say, first and foremost, the second chance points advantage that BYU had at 20-7, and to go hand in hand with that would be the fact that they had 16 offensive rebounds. I think that was just so much, difficult for K-State to try to overcome because, they kind of hung around. They'd be, down 9 or 10 and then back to within 5 or 6, but they could never really get it any closer than that. And those were the main reasons why. BYU shot pretty well for the ball game for sure. And I guess the next thing you could probably point out is the differential in the 3-point shooting because they made 9. K-State normally makes that amount, but not in this game. They were 3 of 21, and you have only one guy make 3-pointers in the game. Everybody else went over, and that's just not what K-State's been. And give BYU some credit for that. And I guess also I would mention that their length bothered the catch. You could see it. I mean, K-Bacade is a man. There's no question about that. But I thought too that they had a couple of other guys, that helped out. And they're just a real solid basketball team, man. They don't necessarily wow you with athleticism, and I'm talking about everybody except A.J. Devonsa, but, they know how to play. They have good spacing. They get the ball reversed. They compete. And Devonsa was everything I thought he would be. He's a spectacular talent.
Yeah, his line, of course, he finishes with 24 points, which is actually the least amount of points he's been held to in the last 6 games. He also had 7 turnovers, which leads me to my next thought, and Jerome Tang brought this up as well, where K-State forces 19 turnovers, 7 of them from A.J. Devonsa, and K-State finishes the game with 12 steals. Those are all really great numbers, but BYU still wins by 10. Are you encouraged about what you saw defensively from K-State?
I am. I'm encouraged by, more than anything in the loss, just how hard I thought K-State played. Some of that was obviously on the defensive end. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. And I've had conversations with some K-State fans since the game ended, and I've said pretty much the same thing to about everybody, that if K-State can continue to progress and get better defensively and play with that kind of effort, I think they'll win their share of games. It's not going to be easy. I mean, you start looking at the league, and every game is tough, man. It just is. I mean, Colorado didn't win a league game last year, and they won at Arizona State the other day. So everybody is fighting and clawing for everything that they're getting. And, I mean, you look at now 6 teams are ranked in the AP poll that was just released earlier today. It's a hard road, but I think this team has not played its best basketball. I think they're capable of more. They had to play the game without Elias Rapiak, which, you say what you want, but that was a factor. Good to have Moby back, and he's capable of a lot more. I'd like to see him get Andre Kostic going a little bit, and I know that some of the fans are frustrated by that too. But long answer to say I was encouraged by the defensive effort, but really encouraged about how they fought and competed and got on the floor and really got after it.
Whether the other thought about the game was 3-point shooting and, going 3 of 21, you think about K-State making a few more of those, and it could be a very different game at that point, where K-State had plenty of chances to make a run, and they don't do it. But going 3 for 21 with one of the best 3-point shooting teams in America really stinks. But Jerome Tang has now said multiple times that he feels like his guys are passing up shots. Maybe not saying it, out on the air, but are you thinking in your head? Are you thinking the same thing? Are you seeing the same thing, that guys are passing up too many shots?
Well, I think there's a couple of thoughts to that. I can recall 3 or 4 that I believe Coach would be talking about. One late in the game where Castillo had struggled shooting the ball from 3 and passed up a wide open look to get the ball back to P.J. Haggerty. You know what? He's a good enough shooter. You've got to, when you're that wide open, you've got to shoot it. And I do think that the other factor there too is the ball movement and the ball reversal and paint touches. All of those things go together in getting good shots. I think K-State had, again, I don't know this, I'd have to go back and look at it, but of the 21 3-pointers, how many would you say were really, really good looks? 7 or 8?
Yeah, I thought there was a pretty decent amount of good looks. Really, the ones that I wasn't if you would not call them or not call them good looks, maybe it was some of the shots Abdi was taking, but he's just that good of a shooter. So I don't know. I thought quite a few were good looks.
Yeah, I did too, and I don't mean like 18 of the 21, but I think if you pass up 3 or 4 good looks, and then you miss, let's say it was 6 or 7, where you're hitting, getting a good look at it with your feet set, the chances are most nights you're not going to go 3 for 21, but they did, right? And so I go back to the effort I loved. Let's get that ball moving a little bit quicker, and maybe you get even better looks. But I'm going to credit BYU a little bit for that too. They were good.
Well, Ira, according, like you said, to the polls, it doesn't get much tougher than what K-State's going to see on Wednesday night, 8 o'clock tip-off, pregame at 7 at number 1 Arizona. What's your thoughts on Arizona heading into this one?
Well, the thing is K-State struggled with BYU's length, and Arizona has every bit of that. Krivos is 7'2", Koapit is 6'8", Karchinkov is 6'7". Off the bench, they bring in 6'8", 255 Tobe Awaka, and 6'8" Dwayne Aristode, who's a 4 or 5-star talent depending on who you pay attention to. They just have really, really good talent. I've looked at a lot of their games. I've looked at their numbers. They do a really good job of, they don't really have any weaknesses to cover up, right? I mean, they have a really good point guard in Jaden Bradley. They're young, but their young guys have competed at the highest level in AAU basketball, whether it's Koapit or Braden Burries, who's a really fine player, Dwayne Aristode. I mean, even to a lesser degree, maybe a guy like C.J. Gay, who doesn't play very much, and he's a 6'11" freshman. They just have, really, really fine talent. And, I mean, they're 14-0, and their margin of win is 23.7 points a game. That's crazy. They're shooting nearly 38% for three, 52% from the floor as a team. Those are eye-popping numbers, man. There's a reason why they're ranked number one in the country in the AP poll.
Yeah, this won't be an easy road trip at Arizona, number one team in the nation, Wednesday, Saturday at Arizona State. Well, Wyatt, I guess enjoy nearly a week in Arizona on this road trip with the men's basketball team, and we'll be talking to you soon. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir, partner. My pleasure. Thanks.
And once again, that is the voice of the Cats, Wyatt Thompson. What game is going to be K-State's first win in Big 12 play? I was kind of thinking about that during the conversation. I think they get smoked at Arizona. I mean, that's a damn good team. Damn good team.
I'm looking up the schedule here.
Well, and then Arizona State, and then they host UCF. The KU game is less than 3 weeks away. I mean, I would hope it's Saturday against Arizona State. I don't think they're that great.
No, they're not.
But it's on the road.
It's on the road.
I think it's Arizona State. I'm not looking forward to Wednesday, though.
Better hope it's Arizona State.
Well, let's take a break. When we come back, got some more. We got another K-State transfer ad.
Yeah.
During that conversation with Wyatt Thompson, another kid from Oklahoma State is joining the Wildcats. Plus, a coach is staying, a coach is coming back, and our quarterback is back. That's coming up next. Wildcat Insider.
You're listening to Wildcat Insider.
Whether it's game day or a night out with great live music, Bottle Cap Sports Bar delivers the atmosphere you're looking for. It's Manhattan's go-to spot for catching every Wildcats or Chiefs game and enjoying live music that plays the songs you actually know. Come early for a good seat, great music, and cold drinks served up right. Stay in the loop. Check out their Facebook page for the full schedule of events. Bottle Caps, where the music's live, the game's always on, and the vibe is just right.
Bottle Cap Sports Bar located on West Anderson across from Dairy Queen.
When severe weather rolls in, every second counts, and we're here to keep you ahead of the storm. Count on us for the latest alerts, live updates, and real-time tracking to help protect you, your family, and your property. From heavy rain and damaging winds to hail and dangerous storms, we'll guide you through the changing conditions and keep you informed when it matters most. Powered by Candlewood Veterinary Clinic, Manhattan Wrecker, Hummel Tree Service, Tall Grass Windows, and Ozone Roofing.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within. Over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event!
Promises to one's community.
Healthy people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
James was diagnosed at 3 months old with neuroblastoma. We went from thinking we had a healthy 3-month-old little boy. All of a sudden, he had this super serious cancer. It was heartbreaking. He had chemotherapy until he was just under a year old. And at that point, he was in remission.
Went that way for a year and then relapsed February of 2023. And here we are 1 year later, finishing up treatment, hopefully.
The research is extremely important. The treatments that they're developing here get shared with all the doctors to help treat children worldwide.
It's contributing something like one more piece of the puzzle to curing this horrible disease. we all want the same thing. We all want our children to live, have long, meaningful lives.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
I'm jumping in with my clothes on.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The Ramsey Show.
The common denominator among people that win with money is they budget. If you want to win at something, winning is a series of intentional acts. If you want to be married successfully, it's a series of intentional acts and behaviors and attitudes. If you want to be fit, it's a series of acts and behaviors and attitudes. Building wealth is the same way. You don't accidentally become wealthy. Oops! Said no millionaire ever.
Life and money advice. The Ramsey Show, weekdays from 10 to 1 on News Radio KMAN.
I'm Cole Dutchendorf with a Wildcat Insider Sports Update brought to you by Bottle Cap Sports Bar. K-State football has been busy in the transfer portal over the last 24 hours, adding 6 players, beginning the process of replacing the 24 players who have departed from the program. Arkansas cornerback Keyshawn Davila was the first addition on Sunday evening. Co-defensive coordinator and defensive backs coach Marcus Woodson coached Davila at Arkansas last season. The first Monday addition came when Texas A&M wide receiver Isaiah Williams committed to K-State. His father Melvin was a defensive end for K-State from 1998 to 2002. Offensive lineman Keaton Jones came shortly after, transferring from Missouri. The Kansas native held offers from Alabama, Auburn, Texas Tech, and several others coming out of high school. 2 more defensive backs would join the Wildcats in the early afternoon, with Caleb Patterson committing from Illinois and Corey Patterson committing from Miami of Ohio. Oklahoma State running back Rodney Fields made his announcement around an hour and a half ago. He had 890 all-purpose yards as a running back for the Cowboys last season, adding 2 touchdowns, including 97 total yards against K-State when the teams met in November. And the most recent announcement, just moments ago, Jacoby Oliphant from Oklahoma State, originally from St. Louis, played in all 12 games with 2 starts for the Cowboys last year. That's 6 total commits for K-State.
Tim, I believe where we think we stand right now when it comes to open roster spots. Yes. It could be more, it could be less. K-State has almost filled, half of them today?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a big day by my account, and there's some players that we don't know about, and more players could be added or more players could leave while I'm saying this sentence. I believe by my count, we're looking at 97 current players on the active roster going into next year. So with a 105 player roster limit, assuming there are no more defections, that's less than 10 guys to have a full roster, which is kind of crazy.
You must have done a lot of homework today, because there's even, aren't there some in this year's class, like recruiting class, that then decided no longer it's K-State because of the coaching change?
I think just the JUCO kid out of Iowa Western. Yeah. But I think everyone else has stayed locked in. At least nothing has been announced publicly as far as I'm aware of.
All right, Cole, you just announced during that update the latest transfer portal ad. It's another secondary player. Not surprised to see more secondary guys being added. Jacoby Oliphant Jr. Give us the details on what you had on that update.
I'm just going to read exactly what they've given in the press release. He's played parts of 2 seasons at Oklahoma State. This is in K-State football was, I believe, the first to announce this one anywhere. I didn't see it on any recruiting sites or in the portal track or anything. I think it was K-State football who broke this news. He played in all 12 games with 2 starts for Oklahoma State last year, recording 26 tackles, 2 sacks, and a pass breakup over 136 defensive snaps, while also seeing time on 135 special teams plays. Going back to high school, he was the number 82 cornerback in the class of 2024 out of St. Louis. So again, another St. Louis area cat that we've been talking about. St. Louis and Kansas City as a couple of the areas with some star coaches in terms of the recruiting area. Had 51 tackles and 4 interceptions in his junior season, 86 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 4 fumble recoveries in his senior season. Ran track, earned 8 All-State honors during his career, and his grandfather, Kevin Higgins, played football for Drake in Missouri.
K-State actually has its own tracker going right now on its website. The tweets that they're putting out, it has a link to that tracker. So they've officially announced 5. Now, they don't have that. The stud of the recruiting class so far, the transfer portal class, is the punter from Emporia State, Dylan Davidson. He is not listed on there yet. But you have Keaton Jones, the offensive lineman he's a Coffeyville kid. He's from Missouri. Caleb Patterson, defensive back from Illinois. Isaiah Williams, wide receiver from Texas A&M. Cole Beasley, another defensive back from Miami, Ohio. And linebacker Jacoby Oliphant from Oklahoma State. So we don't have the running back from Oklahoma State yet, Rodney Fields. He is not listed on there officially being signed, but there's plenty of reporting on that.
Yeah, and a little bit of confusion on my end. It says on here that he is the linebacker. It says on K-State's press release, but I think he's listed as a defensive back in other places, and it says in the press release, as Cole just said, that he was a defensive back in high school, but he is listed as a linebacker.
And 6'4", 215. That is an imposing line. I mean, put on maybe a little bit of weight to be like maybe your stereotypical linebacker, but 6'4", 215 already. I mean, that could be a big hoss in the middle of the field.
Maybe they're moving him. I don't know.
For a defensive back, that's a huge defensive back.
That would be massive. That would be for a DB.
That would be.
I'm more surprised he was a corner.
Jaden Rowe that's like Jaden Rowe size.
Is Jaden that big?
I think he was like 6'3", 220, 230. Yeah. I think he weighed a little bit more and was like an inch shorter.
Yeah.
But he was 230 of straight muscle. I mean, it was insane.
So it would make more sense that he's a linebacker, but I guess this will be clarified. And
I love his profile pic. It's like the pictures that they take of you in uniform for like ESPN and all that stuff.
Shot,
He's got like it looks like he's wearing a grill, and he's wearing a big silver chain, just all diamonds, and it looks like his nickname is Dino or Dino. I'm guessing it's Dino.
Oh yeah, no,
you can see that there in the
dope.
picture,
yeah.
And he's got a big old smile on his face. I already like this guy. I'm a big fan of Jacoby Oliphant, who again he 26 tackles this year as a freshman. He got quite a bit of playing time. He had 2 tackles against K-State.
Yeah, his photo was on this K-State photo. It has some swag to it.
Man, he's a swag guy.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I can't wait to meet him in April or March or whenever we get to talk to the transfers. I bet he's got one of the best personalities.
It seems good. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited about all these guys.
Yeah, so this could definitely be one of another additions, thanks to the ad of Corey Patterson, who's the running backs coach last year at Oklahoma State. He'll now be K-State's running backs coach. We now have 2 transfers out of Oklahoma State. Jacoby Oliphant, who K-State lists as a linebacker after being a defensive back, and then running back Rodney Fields Jr., who, if you add up, all-purpose yards, he had 900 this past season. I'm a big fan of these guys.
Yeah, his bio on Twitter says linebacker, so I'm going with linebacker.
All right. Officially a linebacker. Officially a quarterback for K-State his senior year, 2026, Avery Johnson. I agree with the way Wyatt phrased it earlier in that you never just assume this day and age that everybody, especially a player like Avery Johnson who's been, starting out for 2 years, has a ton of playing time under his belt. He's about to, one more touchdown throw. He's K-State's career leader in touchdown passes. That he's going to stay. He's going to get himself, I'm sure, a new car out of this as well. You get to update the ride. But I never just assume, but when Avery Johnson's career is all said and done, we should never praise anybody for these things. Now, this day and age, for a player that sticks out his career at one school for 4 years and 3 years as a starter, that's a really big deal. It scares me a little bit now where we're at in the transfer portal and where college football is at for a team like K-State to try to go get a really good quarterback in the portal. I know it can be done. It's just a little scary. Other than his injuries, Adrian Martinez, for the most part, really worked out.
Yeah.
And then, Will Howard then became Will Howard and led K-State to a 2022 Big 12 championship game. I think we got our wish. After we put that poll out there and we asked people, look, do you want Avery Johnson to be the guy? Because of all the issues that K-State had this year, not even in my top 25 is Avery Johnson. And with the coaching change, Colin Klein being the guy, and with everybody that transfers out when there's a coaching change, you keep your 2-year starting quarterback. Let me not understate this. This is a monster big thing for K-State. I don't know how close, if at all, Avery was of thinking about going somewhere else, but to stick around after I'm sure he was offered a lot of money to go somewhere else, it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, you look at the market for transfer quarterbacks is insane. We mentioned the last break, Brendan Sorsby reportedly getting $5 million to go to Texas Tech. I don't personally. I think that he's probably a better quarterback than Avery Johnson right now, but I don't think that it is by a super large margin.
He is definitely more of an NFL quarterback than Avery.
Sure. That's a very good way to put it. You not having to wade through there's a lot of mediocre quarterbacks in the portal right now. There are lots of, Iowa State's super excited about getting Arkansas State's quarterback. That's great. I'm happy for them. I don't know. I don't know about that. It's a tough.
I don't even know his name.
Tough Jalen Rayner. It doesn't matter. It's so nice that K-State doesn't have to worry about that. And the fact that they don't have to worry about that, and you get a guy who still maybe hasn't cracked, his upper ceiling of what he could be. He may not turn into the, what maybe some people probably unfairly thought that he would be, which was contending for a Heisman Trophy, be one of the best quarterbacks in college football. Could he end up being a top 5 quarterback in K-State history? Maybe. I mean, if he has the kind of season, if he has a good season next year, certainly the numbers would point to that. Certainly the record book would point to something like that. I remember I had a conversation with you and with Mason midway through the season when things were real bad about why would Avery come back? What, before the coaching change, before we knew how everything would go, what is advantageous about either, going through another year of the Matt Wells experience or having a 4th offensive coordinator in 4 years? What is good about either of those options? And the exact right situation popped out that, technically he's, the person who is called the offensive coordinator will be his 4th in 4 years. But he will have his most preferred play caller back. And it worked out exactly how you would want it to. And I'm happy he's sticking around. Obviously, he's not doing it for nothing. So it's not like, this isn't a charity situation by any means. He's being taken care of, I'm sure, in multiple ways. But, Cincinnati would have forked over a nice amount of money. Arizona State would have forked over a nice amount of money for Sam Leavitt. It should not be taken for granted what Avery is doing for K-State right now.
I mean, there is a layer of comfort zone still with the offensive side of the football, either from his recruiting or when he actually played as a freshman. Klein is the head coach. You know, it's his offense. This is going to be his child. The offense is Klein's. That Ward is returning as the wide receivers coach. Ryan LePack is still around. He's back coaching to tight ends. Like, there's still a comfort zone here. There's still a layer of familiarity to K-State football with the leaders around him trying to make him a better player. There's going to be some new faces. He's used to that. I really appreciate Avery Johnson's work so far. I really do. When I think of why 2025 went bad, like I said earlier, not much at all has to do with Avery Johnson. I think we could do an hour breaking this down. We haven't had the opportunity yet. I may give you 4 or 5 minutes right now, since we're on the subject. And I know a lot of people have been talking about this. I mean, people are talking about it recently because of the defensive players. The transfer portal has now shown us here in the last 2 days what kind of talent K-State had on defense. I know they didn't rank the best in the Big 12. I think the defense, they went through a change as well, going back to the 4-2, a lot of 4-2. So guys adjusting to that. That it's a big adjustment, maybe not as much as you would think of when it comes to the personnel trying to make that adjustment. I wouldn't necessarily put that a whole lot on the defense. I still think the defense did quite a bit of good. I mean, was top 5 in the nation in turnovers. That's the number one thing you wanted to do, just probably not enough getting off the field on third down, especially we saw that in the non-conference. And those issues, a couple of shootouts that the defense had to deal with. I will continue to lean more on the offensive side of the football, and not a great offensive line. I wasn't necessarily the happiest with the coaching on the offensive side of the football. You could hardly use Dylan Edwards, and you're talking about maybe your best athlete that never played hardly this year. He was like a full go for 1 or maybe 2 games. And, we got to see it against UCF. He was amazing. Other than really that, it's been the Joe Jackson show, and there was a lot of growing pains for him. Yeah. There was a lot of inexperienced players trying to play the running back position. And, I understand that as well, plus injuries as well. So, Joe Klanderman had some dudes. They did not meet expectations just like the offense. I will say that. I would say, like, from just what I saw on the field, I could tell maybe the communication wasn't that good, and we're here too many times. Things had to be simplified. But now you're seeing Chidi Obiizor and Tobio Sinsami, they're going to Indiana, losing Oscar Romaine to Texas Tech. Yeah, this team should have been a lot better than what they were. It's plain as simple as that. That's the general way of putting it. To go a little bit deeper, it was just honestly a little bit of everything. I don't think it was just one person's fault. I don't think it was one player's fault. It was just a little bit of everything happened to K-State this past season. I think that's the simple way of putting it without maybe going player by player and breaking down how well they did. I would say the defensive line wasn't as effective as they should have been. I thought that defensive line was going to be just full of studs and big part of stopping the run and sacks all day. No, they underachieved. I think Damian didn't have a great the season he should have had this year. It just, it was kind of a disappointment across the board.
And they were talked up quite a bit coming into the season.
Well, and real quick, don't forget about special teams.
Oh, yeah.
Special teams felt like a mess.
Yeah. Marking myself safe from Nate Katzer.
With the exception of Luis Rodriguez.
Yes.
Love you, Luis.
We do love you, Luis. Please never leave. Well, no, the defensive line was talked up a lot heading into the year, and I think we kind of figured out pretty quickly. They looked so good going into the season because the offensive line was in shambles. They started to figure it out a little bit. They obviously they ran all over Utah. That was, that will be there's anything to remember from this season, that is a big thing.
The record-breaking performance. Joe Jackson beating Darren Sproles by a yard.
Even though it was a loss. But, I mean, look, a lot of defensive lines would look like world beaters against, what the K-State's offensive line looked like at times last year. And that's going to be different now. A lot of those guys are gone. You're only bringing a one starter back in John Pastore, and you have a new offensive line coach. Not that I it's tough to evaluate Brian LePack and kind of what happened last season. You lose a guy like George Fitzpatrick that's supposed to be your anchor, who is supposed to be coming back. And, it just kind of throws everything, into a bad spot. But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how things all shake out.
Brian LePack back at tight ends, responsible for, of course, coaching the best tight end in program history. Mm-hmm. Thad Ward is exciting to have back. Of all the, they've had a bunch of wide receiver coaches over the Chris Klein era. Thad Ward was the most successful. Malik Knowles had the best year as a wide receiver until Jace Brown in 2024. And I'm talking about after Tyler Lockett, Curry Sexton in 2014. Of course, won a Big 12 as well in 22. We got to take our final timeout. This week in the Big 12, we'll wrap it up after a quick break here on Wildcat Insider.
You're listening to Wildcat Insider.
American Family Insurance.
Here's something most people don't realize. American Family Insurance offers life insurance. If you have people who count on you, call Wild & Associates LLC today. Let's make sure your family's life insurance needs are covered. This is Rob Wild, agency owner, Wild & Associates LLC.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies. American Family Life Insurance Company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
In Manhattan, building community means more than bricks and beams. It means innovation and partnership. At McCown Gordon Construction, we deliver feature-focused solutions to projects that shape our region. From advanced research labs to vibrant education, healthcare, and community hubs. We're not just building projects, we're building the future of the Flint Hills with unmatched customer experience and value-driven strategies. We're building for tomorrow. Visit kansas.mccown-gordon.com.
For area high school scores, recaps, league standings, and coach interviews, check out Scoreboard Saturday at 8 a.m. during football and basketball season, including coverage of the Centennial League, NCKL, Big East League, Flint Hills League, and the Twin Valley League. Scoreboard Saturday on News Radio KMAN is powered by WTC Communications.
News Radio KMAN weather.
Right now in Manhattan, 54 degrees with partly cloudy skies with little to no wind. The wind from earlier today dying down almost completely. Tonight mostly clear and a low around 34 as we head to tomorrow. Sunny with a high near 60. A wind out of the west from around 5 to 10 miles an hour. Mostly clear and an overnight low of 31 tomorrow night. On Wednesday, mostly sunny and a high near 64. 50% chance of rain on Thursday, 40% chance of rain on Friday.
All right, wrapping up Wildcat Insider, taking a look at this week in the Big 12. First for the K-State men. They're in Arizona this week for 2 games at number 1 Arizona, 8 o'clock. Wednesday for the tip-off. Pregame coverage will be at 7. And then Saturday, they'll be taking on the Arizona State Sun Devils. They give them a tip-off at 2. That's on the Peacock Network. I think it's also on NBCSN. And 2 o'clock pregame coverage will be at 1 o'clock. So for the K-State women, they will be they'll be at Houston Wednesday at 6:30, pregame at 6 o'clock. They're going to be at Houston. And then I owe an apology to Utah women's basketball. I said they're not very good. They beat TCU on Saturday. I missed that somehow. Utah seems like they're pretty good. They'll be in Bramlage Saturday at 4 o'clock. Bramlage Coliseum for that game. But this week in the Big 12, games start, on Tuesday. And holy cow, we got a couple of big ones here. Texas Tech at Houston. 8 o'clock, FS1. And then number 22, KU hosting TCU. KU, you want to talk about the times of KU basketball, where they're at right now? Look at the secondary market for games in Allen Fieldhouse. Earlier today, I saw $10 tickets for a men's basketball game in Allen Fieldhouse, now there's fees on top of that, I'm sure. And now the cheapest I'm seeing, somebody must have bought them, $19 on the secondary market for Allen Fieldhouse. That is
how the mighty have fallen.
Trouble in Leavenworth?
Trouble in Gardner.
Yeah. Trouble in Edgerton? Sorry.
KU and TCU tip off at 8 o'clock. You guys are hilarious. Let's see. In Wednesday, Baylor hosting Iowa State. That's in K-State at Arizona. That's really about it. Saturday in men's basketball in the Big 12, Kansas visiting West Virginia. Baylor will host Houston. Baylor has a big home week in the Big 12. Arizona going to TCU. Let's see. We got part one of the Holy War in basketball. BYU at Utah. Utah's not very good in men's basketball. They might be the worst team in the Big 12. I think they are. I'd bet they are.
They're the only sub 100 KenPom team, I believe.
And it's
that's
like
right.
by a lot.
Yeah,
they're in like the 130s, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope the Cats could get a win or two there. I think they play them twice. I think that's one of the teams that K-State plays. I could be wrong about that. I know they come here. No, they just come here
once.
They come here once. So guaranteed win. Might be the only one. I would say so.
I mean, it's tough.
Drum Tank said it himself. We could beat anybody or we could lose to anybody. I think that's honestly fair.
I think it's true.
That's a very fair statement. If the Cats are lights out from three, yeah, they could probably beat anybody.
Except for maybe Arizona.
I mean, they're going to run into some buzzsaws defensively. Like I think it's defenses they're not going to be able to handle. Like Arizona's going to.
Houston.
I don't know. Where's that line open up? If BYU comes in as a 14.5-point favorite. What is it? Arizona favored by 22 and a half? Would it be that crazy? Would it be already out there?
I'm looking real quick.
I always thought it came out like a day in advance.
I don't know how quickly they do it.
But anyway, while you're looking that up, I want to thank everybody for listening to Wildcat Insider. Cole Etchendorf, Tim Everson. I'm Mitch Fortner. We got the Jeff Mittie Show coming up next. Chiefs Kingdom at 11 o'clock tonight. Voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holtz, is joining us on Wednesday to wrap up the Chiefs season, which sadly comes to an end in a loss to the Raiders on a 60-yard field goal. Anything, Tim?
No, it's only through Tuesday.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. The game tomorrow, 4 to 6. Go Cats.
Getting you closer to the locker room than anyone else. This is Wildcat Insider. Wildcat Insider, an exclusive presentation of the flagship station of the K-State Sports Network. News Radio 1350, KMAN. The Wildcats.
Three wide open again, and it's perfect again.
Hit the court.
To the rim, layup good.
Right here.
Yeah.